So let's take a look at the draft to see what these players will be playing today. Penguin Pool does follow the Winter Cup draft stages. And so we have got available for us today Gallery, Courtyard, 2 sets of Library, Pub 3 of 7, and High Rise 4 of 8.
Yeah, a really eclectic mix here. And I think showing that both players kind of haven't really figured out their preferences yet, which is very okay to be clear. It's certainly good to try out different types of venues before you sort of figure out your style. And it's going to be interesting to see what perhaps new and exciting things they bring to these various sets of venues.
Yeah, I mean, often when you think about new players, you think about, okay, what are venues that are, friendly to new players? You often think about things like Courtyard, you think about things like Terrace. And we do have Courtyard here, but it's Courtyard 3 of 7, which is not actually the typical novice setup you see. And then you also have venues like Gallery, High Rise 4 of 8, places where these players are really going to have to be on top of things if they want to pick up exactly what's going on. And I think, Sped Monkey, we're about ready to get into our first game, which will be happening on Gallery 4 of 8. 4 minutes on the clock with Coding playing on the spy side as Alice. You ready to get started?
Absolutely. Count us in.
All right, let's get this cast going in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
One thing that I am interested in seeing, especially as these are newer players, is pretty much all of these venues are going to have a lot of time pressure on the spy side. So not a lot of room for idling, but Gallery notorious for timeouts, Library notorious for timeouts, and of course the Snipe Arcade variant of Courtyard and Pub also very unfriendly for people who don't do stuff. So that's going to be an ongoing challenge here in this set, I think.
Yeah, and Coding may be getting a taste of that. Our selection target was outside with us, and we walked back inside completely ignoring them. So we'll go to statues instead. We'll pick up some mission progress here. That's good to see at least. But that seduction target could turn into a problem later on in the game. You really want to pick up those early flirts on Gallery if you have it all a chance to. And now, Coding has earned a highlight for this early statue visit. Dash, staying on top of this. They seem to be focused on the statue visit as we are one of the only ones to have done so so far.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that could very well just be a routine highlight. A lot of newer players, especially, tend to do statue highlights to help with that little memory aid. But we're going to go pick up our first flirt. It is a green test across the conversation circle from our selection target, but as it is across, it's only 32%. So there's still a lot of work to do here on the spy side for coding.
Smallman has earned a highlight and a shot actually going to come off onto Duke. That must be some kind of phantom transfer. An unfortunate way for Dash to open up this set. Those bookcases back there can be very dangerous. Maybe suspicion for an incorrect return. Whatever the case is, that is going to be Coding, picking up a little bit of a gift and picking up the first point.
Yeah, I mean, a little early to say how that game would have played out. There was still a lot that could have happened on both sides, but Dash taking it out of the question. And I will say that as well, that Gallery with the bit of occlusion in the back of the party especially is a ripe opportunity for civ shots like that. If you aren't maybe sure of where a book came from, or if the ambassador's in a very vulnerable position, it definitely happens quite a bit. So and with this game as small man on spy side, it's certainly possible here as well.
Yeah, hopefully Dash is going to be leaning into the meta. We talked about that occlusion. Let's see how they take advantage of it. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yep, leaving AI control on for a bit, but taking control quickly enough to join the party. But there's really nothing going on here at this part of the party inside. So Dash is taking the long road down to join into this back conversation circle, but there's really no objectives here.
The only thing we could be thinking about here is a Purloin. We do quickly down our drinks, so if we're trying to take advantage of all of this clustering happening at this back
We request.
conversation,
That's a request.
there's no chain here, so we're being very bold about it. But here it comes, and the Purloin, it's a white test.
Very clearly visible. I don't think the fave is visible, but if Coding was paying attention, Coding knows that we are the only one in that chain as we chug the drink and bail immediately.
Oh no.
Dash with some serious aggression here, going to the bookshelf, but we were highlight for it.
This could be dangerous. I mean, Dash living up to their name, no question about it. with that race out of conversation. But we only have one mission done and a quarter of the time off the clock. No flirt progress, no contact. And Dash is going to have to find some more opportunities like this one.
Yeah, that's a perfect occlusion bug. I mean, the ambassador's large frame completely blocks it, and I don't think coding has seen it. Now, again, coding could be aware. If coding were paying attention to that purloin, coding would know that we are the only possible suspect here for that purloin. But I don't think coding is quite sure. So while we are a prime highlight, we are not shot, and we've got two hardtails done instead. Dash just needs at this point to flirt it out, get the banana bread, and maybe this will be a spy win.
Yeah, but this laser is following us around really punishingly. We do get into conversation, 34% flirt. We'll absolutely take that. The double agent's all the way back inside. We have 2 minutes 15 on the clock, so Dash can absolutely finish this game with a flirt and contact. No question about it, as long as the double agent doesn't get particularly nasty about it. I'm just not certain that we're going to survive the banana bread.
That is the question. I was going to ask if we're going to survive the flirts, and I don't think that's going to be an issue, but I think you're absolutely right. Especially if nobody else in this party does anything suspicious, then the banana bread is going to be the real test for sure.
Dash doing a nice decision here, going for a walk away from the conversation to reset the flirt timer a little bit quickly and get back in here. We're pretty far away from our seduction target. There's not a lot we can do about that. The conversation is pretty full, but look at this laser. It's just burning us. And now 62% with a white test. We're going to need a green to finish this game. Our seduction target walks inside. That's not necessarily a bad thing, as the double agent also comes back to the back conversation. Dash needs to start heading inside, and here we go. How do you want to finish this? Do you want to go for the contact right away before the double agent walks off, or do you want to try to hit the flirt first?
I think you just have to go with whatever the party gives you. So if you look around real quick and Nillis has a good time for a banana bread, hang on, safety off on general, safety off on us.
Banana bread.
Here's the banana bread, and we are shot immediately. I don't think Cody even heard the banana bread go off.
I think you're right. The shot came off before the banana bread was uttered, so that's just a shot for rejoining that conversation. I don't know if that's coding, just saying, you know what, I've seen enough. I'm pretty sure it's Smallman. I haven't seen anything else in the party to make me think that it's not. I'm gonna say like Dash. It's a good choice to go for that purloin in the back conversation there in gallery. I think it makes a lot of sense. Unfortunate that there was no chain, and unfortunate that it was a white. Really just leaving Dash in a very difficult position, but a fantastic bug is almost enough to salvage that game.
Yeah, and I really appreciate players, especially newer players who aren't afraid to trust their green rates and otherwise make aggressive plays, especially on gallery, which can be punishing like that. So kudos to Dash for having the audacity to go for those moves.
All right, well, we're coming into Courtyard, our second venue. This is Courtyard 3 of 7, 2 minutes 45 on the clock. So we'll see how these players handle it. And let's get into the game. Coding on the spy side first, playing as Disney in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yep, this is Winter Cup, of course, so only one set on each venue, except for Library Horse, which was picked twice. So we're going to get a lot of variety and not a lot of time for players to sort of establish their own meta here. The Double Agent will join us, though, and we're just going to
Banana
take
bread.
advantage in Banana Bread right here, right now. I'm not sure this is a good one, but nonetheless, that is mission progress.
Gonna knock out 3 statue visitors. Dash. They're gonna be taking those lowlights all day and twice on
Oh,
Sunday. We
that
go for
bug
the
was so
push.
visible! It was so visible! But it wasn't seen. We pick up a highlight for going to statues, but we're not shot. And that could be the difference here between a win and a loss.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that highlight is for the statue, how much of it for the bug, and how much of it is for the weird path into that statue. It could be any of those 3, but hey, Coding has 2 missions done with 2 minutes on the clock, and if we're not dead yet, it's gonna put a lot of pressure on Dash to have to make a decision to shoot for Flirt, which you really don't love having to do.
Especially since we have no flirts yet, so it's not like we can be paired with anybody. But now that Sam is settling in a conversation circle, we are going to have to chase him down pretty much right now, and that's the play. Cody is going to tuck in real close next to him, and he's going to have to start. Yep, there it is. It's immediate talk right away.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You have a minute and a half here. You can just about timer flirt this down, actually. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to do anything. And it's going to be so hard to shoot someone who's just standing in this conversation for a minute and a half on Courtyard, even if they're already so strong a highlight.
Yeah, at this point, the only chance for Dash is to notice potentially the timings, in that Coding is speaking every 45 seconds when the flirt timer is up. And, well, that's going to change things as Salmon walks away, but then comes right back to us. No, hang on. Salmon, please.
Salmon goes to statues. This
Salmon.
is not what we want.
No, that was probably the worst possible situation, except that with the camera, the laser hovering on Salmon, it feels like Salmon is the top suspect right now.
I think he is. And we're requesting a drink? Coding,
Yep.
what are we doing? It doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Dash taking the shot onto Salmon, unable to avoid it. I mean, this is Courtyard 3 of 7, right? And sometimes you have an AI that is just like, well, this person could be done. And what else are you supposed to do? You have to shoot them sometimes.
Yeah. So let's talk briefly though about what maybe coding could have done differently there. I mean, Courtyard, of course, is uh, unforgiving on the clock, especially in this mode. But as in most venues, if you're planning to finish with flirt, getting at least that first flirt done pretty early on is pretty much key.
And it just makes the end of the game so much less scary, so much less random. Your suction target going to statues or wandering around a bunch is not necessarily a death sentence. Um, I think
How did that bug not take? That's brutal.
it's so bad. It's so rough that that doesn't take. I think it's fair to say so far from Dash, um, maybe we've seen a couple of hasty shots. We saw the shot onto Duke on Gallery. We saw the shot into Salmon on Courtyard. So I hope they're able to settle down a little bit. Now, I don't necessarily say that the shot on Salmon is so hasty, aside from the fact that I don't think Salmon could have been finishing at that particular moment. Right? There was nothing that happened there where Salmon had more mission progress than he had 30 seconds ago. Um, but I think some of the upcoming venues, especially like the Library 5 of 8s, are going to make it a lot easier for these snipers to be more disciplined about their shots. But before we get to that, Dash is going to be back on the spy side of Courtyard, now playing as Taft, coding on the sniper side. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Now, as this is a Swiss event, we're not playing all the games, assuming one player gets to 7 first, correct?
That's right. As soon as we get to 7, that player is the winner of the match, and the match ends. All right, well, Dash taking a very slow start here, scoping out the party. Our selection target is at statues, and we don't want to join her. We're just sitting in this very open conversation. We walked straight through the conversation.
That was such a bug path.
It really was, but there was so
We
much laser shooting
request.
on us. I think that coding knows that we did not bug, but we do white purloin, and the list is being looked for. It's seen missing. What's the reaction going to be? Is there
I
a
don't think it was
reaction?
seen. I don't think it was seen. I think it was missed. And we gulped the drink. Dash, we're seeing the same playbook as we saw in gallery, but this time it might be paying off.
We're seeing almost exactly the same playbook. The early purloin from a useless conversation into a watch check at Windows, now into conversation not with our seduction target, otherwise it would be the same exact game. But the double agent is here and we could be going for a contact and I wouldn't hate it at all.
No, this is a pretty good one actually.
Banana
There's gonna be a
bread.
slight delay for the white test, but there it is. Not a lot of lowlights at all. I think salmon the only lowlight possible. Yep, there
Yeah,
it is.
great contact. Great contact. So many reels. Now the question is, what is Coding thinking about this purloin and has he even noticed it? Because if not, Dash has so many options here and really should just be flirting this out.
Well, the thing is the time, and Dash so far has not had the greatest action tests. I honestly, if I'm Dash, I might just go to statues now.
Try to just, yeah, that's fair. That's putting a lot of trust on Coding to not shoot you for knowing that you couldn't have been doing flirt because you haven't been talking. But I agree, with 1 minute on the clock, flirt is pretty much out of the picture. So statues or bug are kind of our two ways out of this game.
Yeah, but Dash taking it very, very slow here. And we haven't seen any jumpy shots out of coding yet. I mean, granted, it's early. That was a little awkward. We ignored Toby a little bit, but now we're going to statues. And can coding find this shot for finishing missions right here?
There's the highlight and the rotate away. I don't feel a shot coming here. If you haven't noticed the purloin, there really is no reason to shoot at this point. We're in mission win countdown. Here it comes, and I think Dash is going to get away with a spy win.
Yeah, absolutely. With time ticking down, it looks like that's correct. Dash will pick up the mission win here and finally get on the board 3-1 after 2 venues.
I think this game just came down to that purloin, and Coding not being on top of it. Dash gets paid off for the purloin and is on the board with a point.
Yep, absolutely. And granted, tracking purloins, especially on a chaotic sort of Snipe Arcade Courtyard can definitely be difficult, but it is often the key, especially with newer players, again, between a win and a loss on Sniper side, especially with only 3 missions to go.
All right, well, we're moving into something very different now. It's going to be Library 5 of 8, 4:45 on the clock, and Coding pulling out Orange Sari on one of the game's largest menus. So we'll see how that works out for him. Dash on the sniper side. In three, two, one, playing it.
Yep. Coding, again, pacing is going to be paramount here. Coding cannot afford to waste time, but we're leaving the AI control on, bouncing around a bit, and there's really nothing going on with, where the AI is dumping us. We land this conversation circle. We might be bailed out by our selection target coming to us, but he does join across the conversation circle, so we can pick up this first flip. It's only going to be 17%.
Yeah, we'll take it. I mean, no reason not to. And now Coding has to decide whether he wants to try to stay in this area and try to get more flirt out of the ST or head somewhere else. I would be very tempted. Well, now the ambassador is headed over here, but we don't care. We're going to center statues, and we're just going to get our inspects done early and pick up an early highlight.
So let me ask you this as a philosophical thing. If you're coding at this point, and you've already seen 2 jumpy shots out of Dash, would you just kind of idle here and assume that they're going to take another one instead of going and picking up an early highlight like this?
It would be very
Oh,
tempting.
we broke animation! It was seen, and the shot will come off!
Yeah, you can't do that. That is something that's absolutely going to get you shot, especially given how much laser attention there was on that side of the venue at that point. Toby is over here. The ambassador's not far away. Unfortunate for Coding to have that happen.
Yeah, that really is unfortunate. And, if you can't hit the screen test on the center statue in specs, it can be very unforgiving. And sometimes you have to decide if you just want to 3 cycle it and hope that the sniper isn't paying attention, or just 2 cycle and go to a different statue scheduled later on.
Yeah, and I think here, I mean, we hit two greens on the inspects, so we don't have any actual problem with the ATs. It's just a question of, and this is something that a lot of players actually have to learn, very, very efficiently triggering your inspects, so not waste any time in between them. If you do that and you get even a single green, you're probably fine. But if you have those like half-second delays, three-quarter-second delays between the inspects, then you can end up in the situation really easily.
That's true. Yeah, the muscle memory is very key.
Just E and then right click. All right, well, that is our first library game. And Dash, with two games in a row, has picked up a little bit of momentum in this match, is looking to even things up on the spy side as Boots, coding on the sniper side. Library 445 in three, two, one, playing it.
Yep, we do start next to the ambassador. We have a drink in hand. We're gonna go join right next to him. We're gonna have to chug this drink. Are we gonna pick up a book there, or are we just gonna leave and go for this bug? Do you think? We've seen
I
some
think we
very
have.
aggressive play out of
Oh,
Dash so far. We do leave, but we don't take the bug. We're just walking away into the conversation circle. Dash, you have to take that bug there. If you're going to break etiquette like that, you may as well just go for it.
may as well just go for it. Okay, well, Dash is still alive after leaving the bookcase without a book, so that is in our favor. Coding paying a lot of attention to these statue visitors. Kane on the left-hand side of the screen, Toby on the left-hand side of the screen, Alice at
We're
center on the left-hand side
requesting.
of the screen.
We're requesting. Toby's going to have a long odyssey to come to us. We leave, though. We're seen very clearly not bugging, as Toby, never mind, is going to just skip our request, and we're going to pick up a book instead.
Yeah, not bugging there was definitely correct. No, we don't take the bug either. We just walk away. Okay, now we're gonna go back for the book.
Yeah, I think that was maybe just sort of missed timing on Dash's part. Maybe they just weren't quite aware of how long that took. But we're just going to rip it. One book takeout, and then we walk away. So
Yeah,
this
there
has to go
there are
back into the wrong bookshelf at some point, right?
I think so. I mean, given how quickly Dash is moving around, I mean, we try to rip that book out the first time and get the timing wrong. We then rip it out the second time, not waiting the requisite cycles before leaving the bookcase. And now we do a very short stay in conversation before walking all the way over to the right hand side of the venue. Dash, again, true to their name, really moving around. But despite all that moving around, not a lot of mission progress to show in the first third of this timer.
No, and unfortunately, if coding is at all has picked up any behavioralism at this point, Dash might be standing out on his radar as one of the most active characters at this party. Here we go. We're gonna go dump this book right now. We're just gonna slam it into yellow. That is a book slam, and that's done. We aren't shot for it though. So here we go. What's Dash's next move with one mission done?
Yeah, that is the kind of move that will definitely get you shot against snipers with a little bit more etiquette experience, but if your sniper's not shooting you for it, it's just a good play. It's just an optimization. Now, that bug doesn't take, which is really unfortunate because it looked like a decent setup in terms of occlusion. We go for this one again,
Oh,
and that's
geez.
very aggressive.
It did take, but it was also very much on screen. The laser's following us, and the laser's shooting us.
Yeah, so Dash, I mean, a little bit of mechanical and etiquette flubs there in terms of the books, which on a place like a library is the kind of thing you have to worry about. But I think the only thing that really got us dead was this bug, which is just too aggressive. Right in the sniper's face, we like change direction to follow the ambassador, and the arm is visible on that turnaround. Those helicopter bugs where your character model turns in a circle with the arm extended can make the arm really prominent, and I think that that in the end is what got Dash shot in that game.
Yep, absolutely agree. I mean, it's one thing if you're not on camera, but if those bugs are seen, then any sniper paying attention whatsoever is going to shoot you for it.
All right, well, good news. We get to play library again. We saw two quick library games there. We'll see what these players are able to adjust in the second set. And coding, starting off on the spy side, playing as Kane in three, two, one, playing it.
Yeah, once again, we've seen coding let the AI control take him to a spot, but not this time. I don't know if maybe we're going to go for a bug, but we are bounced away by the AI, and we're instead going to settle down here and try and flirt.
I'll pick up a green flirt at Windows, but it's remarkably low. I thought we were closer than that, but okay, 42%. We should not be thinking about this bug. That's what coding just shot Dash for, and coding agrees. Not going to try for anything like that. Just go finish our flirt. Sure, why not?
Yeah, definitely not the worst idea. And I would point out from that last game as well, just a thing that a lot of newer players aren't aware of. Those bugs where the ambassador is walking the opposite direction from you are pretty much impossible to make take unless you have two very, very, very slow characters.
Yeah, even with like Pearls and Sari walking towards each other, you need some amount of bump or some amount of angle to get the bug to take. Speaking of bug, the ambassador
Ooh.
comes right to us. Are we going to try it?
We're gonna fake BB. We're gonna fake BB bug, but I think the ambassador is going to leave before we're able to
Banana
do it,
bread.
especially with that white test. Yeah, we're not going to get this bug in time, and instead we're giving off so many lowlights in exchange. Kind of an unforced error here from coding, unfortunately.
We hit a green there and we're able to banana bread bug while the sniper is low lighting. I
We
like it, but we have a pending purloin.
Yeah, the offer was not seen. Dash too busy taking those lowlights from that banana bread, so what may have seemed like a mistake. Wait, hang on, we are going to pick up a highlight here instead. But for what?
I don't know what that highlight is for. It's very interesting. A lot of laser attention is being paid to coding actually right now, and that purloin is still bouncing around. I mean, we can't possibly be a suspect for this purloin when it comes off.
No, again, I don't think the offer to us was even seen, and we have such a chain right now. We're going back to Windows, but again, there's nothing here. I think we're just waiting for the purloin to come off to see what happens. Dash zooming in to check the list. Now it's seen. The fade is seen, and we time that as the purloin comes off, and we're low lit. We're low lit for the purloin.
Yeah, I can't blame Dash for that low light. That chain was so long. The offer was completely invisible after that banana bread. And okay, coding traded a lot of lights to get that offer unseen. But the flip side of that is that okay, we can't take the briefcase there while the ambassador is at bookcase. You have to put it down when the ambassador is reading. Um, the flip side of that is that all those low lights don't matter because we've now joined them because the offer wasn't seen.
Yeah, but of course the question is, do we know that we're a low light? And that can be so hard to read. Because if we're a low light, of course, then we know that we can do whatever we want. We can go just sort of rush through our missions, and as long as we aren't too obvious about it, we'll be done in no time. But if we don't know that we're a low light, which we probably don't, then we're not going to know. We've missed two difficult fingerprints, by the way. Here's a transfer. It is white. We are low light. The camera does not see us. So that's mission progress.
It's mission progress, but it's slow mission progress. Now the good news is that flirt is done. If we can find a contact, I think we're in pretty good shape to finish this game with 2.5 minutes on the clock, even with that animation transfer. But there's nobody here. The double agent has walked away.
Yeah, this is not a spot we really want to be in. And it's not like we can request Purloin either. I think if anything, we go to maybe Green Bookshelf and just microfilm again there as the ambassador is over here at yellow.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried. We go to, again, not a mission site. And, okay, coding has to think that there's some kind of huge suspect and are trying to burn off suspicion. But the thing is, even if you are okay, maybe you're thinking that Dash has a decent chance of sip shotting just based on their performance in the last couple of games, but you have to make some progress at some point.
Well, here we are. We are at the green bookshelf. Dash coming over to check on us every so often, but we are going to fire off the microfilm right here. And it is a white test, but Dash looks away at just the wrong time, so the head turn is visible, but that's it. We put the book back, we're still alive.
It's probably just my imagination, but it feels like Dash is keeping a little bit of an eye on us. Just something about the camera movements. Again, we're a low light walking around library. We're probably just completely in the clear. But if you're coding, sitting there at that bookshelf, and you see those lasers like coming back and forth trying to bait the transfer, it doesn't feel good.
Ooh. The ambassador leaves just as we go for the bug. It does not take. That is a failed bug. Again, not seen. That's been sort of the saving grace for a lot of these hardtails thus far, and we're going to add time again. That's two so far this match.
I don't think we have much of a choice. I mean, unless we're planning to inspect swap to finish, I don't see what our path is. We join another useless conversation, and coding is just letting all this time run down. And I don't know if we're just trying to get a sip shot at this point. There's only three suspects left up in the game.
Well, I think we're staring at the double agent, just waiting for double agent to land in the conversation circle. And I would not be shocked if we're going to walk away, but the double agent does not land in the conversation circle. We are getting so abused here by the AI. So coding has to be thinking of a plan B at this point. Inspect swap is certainly in the offing. It's a little bit too late to go for a fingerprint. Uh, and if we can find a good bug, though, like the ambassador in a buggable position here, we finally get one, and it will take for this time.
Yeah, it's completely off screen, but we're gonna go for a side statue so we can't complete center inspects.
It's a
It's
swap.
just a white swap. Yeah, why not? We put it right back down. We are not on camera at all. Coding is aware of where the laser is, knows that wasn't seen, knows that he's about to win this game, and that's a spy win for Coding and a long spy win at that.
Yeah, those two time ads, those make it very, very difficult. Credit to Dash for holding their shot. Um, in a long library game like this, especially given what we've seen so far, that can be so, so difficult. But unfortunately, this is the situation where coding finally got it together to finish with a few false starts.
Dash's lights at the end of this game were so interesting. I know we were focused mostly on coding spy game, but like Dash was low lighting people in conversations. Dash was bringing people back up from low lights. Sorry, for example, doing a briefcase got brought back up from a low light to a neutral light. I think at some point Dash realized that they had pretty much eliminated everyone on the venue. And if you only have two people who aren't low lit, like at some point on library you can say, look, I can watch more than two people at once, right? Let me find like three more people and bring them up and just expand my suspect pool a little bit. Unfortunate that none of them were Kane, um, but a good instinct from Dash there, willing to bring lowlights back up when there's no reason to keep them low lit, is a fantastic instinct to have, and it's a really cool thing to see.
Yep, definitely agreed. Um, I mean, I think part of it is just how much you trust your lowlights, right? Like there have definitely been times where I've had it down to a handful of suspects on library from various low light things. And if you trust your lowlights, then you have to just say, well, one of these is my spy, or I'm going to lose anyway. So, there are two sides of the same coin there. But I definitely respect Dash's approach and good awareness, realizing none of my suspects are really doing much.
All right. Well, Dash on the spy side of library, playing as Rocker, looking to bring this match back. Coding, looking for tie point. In three, two, one, playing it.
Yep, Dash starting. Nope, never mind. The AI dumps Dash at the statues, but they're saying nope, don't want that early highlight. We go for a bug. We helicopter. We go for another one. We helicopter again. Neither takes. We're fine. Let's just reset and start over.
Yeah, I respect going for that chaos bug. I mean, we've seen Dash now several times go to pads and then not do what was required at those
We
pads.
requested. We requested again. Toby's taking the long path to us. Dash playing from the same playbook every time, but going for this early purloin. It's a green test. We hit the green this time.
Yeah, that's huge. And now we're walking away. Let's see how long this chain is. Probably not going to be as great as Coding's chain was. That's just not the kind of thing that happens that
Oh no,
often.
a
And
cast
it's
member was
not.
going to take. It's a green test. The fate is seen. If coding is paying attention, we are the only possible suspect once again. But no, wait, hang on. Safety off on Alice. Alice going to walk away as we safety off. The laser following as she bounces off wheels. Is the shot going to come off here?
I think coding has completely tunneled at this point. I just don't think Dash's request was seen. There's the shot coming off onto Alice, and unfortunate error from coding there, and a little bit of an earlier shot than really required. Library 5 of 8, you can miss a hardtail and still play the game. Coding unable to do so, unwilling to say that there could be any other suspect, and pays the price.
I would just point out as well, something that snipers maybe aren't aware of. Alice in this spot is in an unrequestable position or an unofferable one.
Hmm.
There
Hmm.
is no way she could have interacted with Toby here.
Yeah, no space behind her, and that means that Alice was definitely not the purloiner. Um, and okay, maybe you don't know who the purloiner is. You want to shoot somebody. That's the kind of instinct you just have to suppress and say, "Look, I'm behind a hardtail. I'm playing 4 of 7 library, and just do your best from then." Or
Yeah.
take lowlights on people that you know it couldn't have been. Right? There are probably some.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's just good practice in general. When the purloin comes off, even if you're reasonably sure who it is, unless you're 1,000% sure, just take the shore lowlights, highlight your main suspects, and see what else is going on. Because again, as you said, Corvus, there is still what 3.5 minutes left to go here, and your spy's gonna have to do a lot more stuff.
All right. Well, that's library split 2-2, meaning that coding is still up 5-3 as we come into pub 3 of 7. Now we saw courtyard 3 of 7 be a split, if I remember correctly. So we'll see how these players manage pub, coding on the spy side as salmon in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, at this point, the difference in this match is just gallery.
That's all it is, and it only takes one venue sweep to turn that back around. Coding AI control for quite some time, but does eventually land in a useless conversation. Already
Breaks
some statue visitors.
breaks animation on that sip, which is fine. I mean, it doesn't really seem like Dash is paying too much attention to that, but just as things to note in the future, that first sip has to be after one full animation cycle in the conversation circle before you're able to do it. But the double agent's going to join us here. I think we have to take this being Snipe Arcade Pub.
I think we want to wait for at least Teal.
Banana
Nope, never
bread.
mind. Teal and Duke, our 2 statue visitors, will be knocked out,
Yeah,
but
that
we
is
do have the
rough.
contact.
Yep. I mean, the contact is big. We are having a request now, though. But everyone inside here is a low light. Twin going to statue right now. Twin walks away from statue. Never mind. So once again, we're burning a lot of time here at bar as we wait for Toby to offer to us. And we're going to pick up a
We,
highlight too.
we will be set up for a difficult print. I believe we've seen coding try for a couple of those and not hit any of them. Let's see what happens here.
We will take the delegate. No cheese happening yet. Uh, we're going to sip, but what do we do next? We still have a minute 30. If we're going to flirt, we have to start now, but we're not. So the play has to be something different here. We're going to tuck next to Duke instead, all the way over here. If we're going to delegate, though, there it is. There's a delegate, but Duke was next to us at the bar. Duke is going to have to slam this drink and is already a low light from that banana bread.
Yeah, Duke had even been to statue, so this delegate could have been great if Duke wasn't a low light. Okay, but even if this comes off, we still need another mission.
Yep, and banana bread already done. We're going to go here and start flirting, but I think it's too late for that unless we can really hit those greens, and it's not. It's going to be a white test, so the purloin is going to come off from Duke, and the shot immediately comes off. Dash all over that purloin.
Yeah, Dash 100% on top of it. And I think on pub, if you don't have a big bar rush and you're kind of the only person with bar credit at that point, uh, the sniper doesn't even have to track the purloin. They just see the list disappear and a low light take it, and they're like, well, I guess it was salmon.
What I will say is I think that this is a case of not tracking who the lowlights from the banana bread were, because as you pointed
Mhm.
out, that could have been, if Duke had been in for banana bread, that could be Duke finishing right there, and Duke probably gets shot. But because Duke had already been hard eliminated, um, we're then left as the only suspect.
And Dash, with a huge amount of momentum coming into this game, I think Dash has won, I don't know, 3 games in a row or something?
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, Dash was down 3-0 at one point, but is now within one game.
All right, well, Dash on the spy side of Sniper Arcade Pub playing as Kane in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Well, Dash's gameplay is pretty much made for Sniper Arcade, right? We've seen such aggressive plays out of them so far, but this time, nothing aggressive yet. as the selection target will join a different conversation circle. The double agent is inside, ambassador's at bar. Nothing available to us really yet.
We must want to chase our ST, but our ST is not going to settle just yet. Coming towards our conversation, that's not ideal, but we will take the flirt white test. We've seen quite a few of those, and on Snipe Arcade, those white test flirts can actually be very damaging.
Yeah, we have to walk away, and Dash, I agree with this decision right now.
Mhm.
Going to bar, picking up the delegate, a very good choice in this situation.
We haven't really seen either of these players attempt to pick their ambassador. It looks like it's all random Amba. With how much these players have been going for bugs and kind of just opportunistic bugs rather than bugs with like a specific setup or reverse drive-by, they may be well served actually trying to take Tex or Taft as their Amba to hide some of those bugs that they're taking. But we're going to join next to our seduction target. We'll get a better flirt this time, 51%. We only need one more green to finish.
Yeah, we're not going to delegate quite yet, though. And we are a highlight, but it was just a road bar highlight. We saw Rocker pick one up as well, and both twins are highlight too. Or highlight, excuse me, as well. We're going to chase the selection target here, though, if we can fit into this conversation circle, but it can be so brutal here on pub, and Dash is going to have to take the walk of shame to the outer one, having missed it.
We get our highlight toggled. I don't know if that's just a little memory aid from coding. We did fire a delegate.
No, selection target, no.
Oh, coding's all over this.
Yeah, this feels wrong. Oh, but the timer is going to expire just as General takes the drink, so no
That saves
delegate will
us.
come off. Yeah, we were dead if that delegate comes off.
Like it's not a great feeling your delegate not happening, but we were completely toast if it did. Now the question is how much suspicion we still have despite that not coming off. Well,
Well,
there's
we're swapping. We just
it's not
white swap,
seen. The
right?
laser angle is covering it.
Yeah, now it's visible. We're gonna pick up the inspect as well, but no action taken. I don't think coding paying attention to the statue, and we're just going right into the bar. Are we going to direct purloin? It
The
doesn't
shot!
matter.
What? What? What?
I'm not sure what that shot is for. Twin couldn't have finished there unless we thought maybe Twin had picked up that swap and saw it belatedly.
Or that was some kind of bar flirt finish? Surely not.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, we have to be aware that Twin cannot be finishing here and hold this shot.
Yeah, I mean, even if we miss the swap, which, okay, I mean, sometimes you're just not looking for swap, that happens. There's a very, very good chance that this game goes to overtime when Dash tries to hit that purloin. Um, so that, I think that just comes down to a slightly panicked shot. Time's ticking down, you're hearing those beeps. And Dash, I love the swap idea, to be honest. Like, I'm not sure what else you do to finish there. So I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, absolutely true. No, I'm don't oppose it at all, and clearly it worked out. And something Dash is tied this set up. Down from 3-0, has pulled off a 5-2 run, and now with one venue to go, it is all tied up.
Yeah, and so it all comes down to high rise 4 of 8 coding, but every single one of these games will give these players half a point in the Penguin Pool standings. You get half a point for a draw, full point for a win. So it just comes down to a best of 2. Coding playing as Plane Twin on high rise in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Are we still doing marbles?
I feel like we're not at the moment. I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future.
I just mean as far as matches being for all of the marbles or lack thereof. We're gonna fake PB right here. This is aggressive. It's going to let off a few lowlights, including a statue visitor. But no, there we go. Never mind. I thought maybe Irish got missed at statues there, but she'll be ignored. But I think that does give real to everybody else in this party. Ooh, nice bug.
Yeah, that bug is very cool. It's hard to see. There's a lot of visual noise going on. I don't really think Dash is looking at it. Now, this is not high rise 3 of 5. Like, if it were, that bug just wins you the game. But we're still, like, the time here is not that high, and we still have no flirt progress. A
Well,
little bit of a theme from both these players, but we do have
yeah,
a flirt
stop
line.
this if you've heard me before. And the list is zoomed in on it's seen missing. No! Wait, Wheels is gonna take the shot for us! That was a missed shot, right? It had to have been.
I mean, I don't think it was. Like, if we were trying to shoot Twin, we moved the crosshairs down from Twin 2 Wheels.
I,
And Wheels could was offered before us.
Yeah, but I think the fade was seen. The fade was so visible. No, it was a little bit hidden, and that was a difference.
Yeah, that's tough, and I think, again, kind of an unnecessarily early shot from Dash, right? You could probably be pretty confident that Wheels is likely not done. Be pretty hard to finish Flirt, Contact, Bug, and Purloin in that amount of time. Um, it just comes down to, like, do you judge the fade right or not? And it's not an easy thing to judge, especially when it's partially occluded like that.
Yeah. So the sieve shot comes off from Dash, and suddenly this is coding sniping for the outright win.
Yeah, and Dash spying for the draw. Gonna be playing High Rise as Salmon. In three, two, one, playing it. So what do you do
Yeah.
here? Do you do an early Purloin if you're Dash?
I mean, I feel like it doesn't matter what I think. I feel like there's a likelihood that that's going to happen anyway. But we're going to pick up a book instead. And this is a good bookshelf. It's often ignored, especially with all the noise going on here at statues. But we were clearly seen at it. The selection target will join us though, so we will pick up a flirt, and we're going to do an action test microfilm behind the screen.
Yeah, I don't think it's seen at all. The party is very busy. But this is the easy one, right? Blue is going to be the harder one to get away with. We did request a drink early on, but taking the book canceled it.
Yep, we are going to join next to Double Agent instead. I would expect the banana bread will come off sooner rather than later, because neither of these players have been waiting all that long. And all things considered, this is not the worst one if we choose to just take it.
Mm-hmm. It will knock out Kane at side
Banana
statues, but
bread.
that's probably okay. We
We
split
split.
up act.
So here's the problem. We don't know it, but that conversation circle did not have an SDA in it, so we are one of a handful of reels.
And we were highlit, maybe even for a split, or just for coding not liking our pathing through there.
Ooh, we
We
missed the path.
stumble onto the catch. It's not seen. The pillar is hiding us at the time, so Dash is not going to get shot for it. But those mechanical errors at the end of a long set can be very damaging. We do pick up 2 inspects. We still have that microphone in pocket. We have partial progress on a lot of missions, and we
Um,
go for a swap.
um, okay, sure. The
Quick
laser
walk
is
away.
the laser is following us though. We have seen this behavior from coding before. It feels like we might be a dead spy walking.
Yeah, coding when he starts to tunnel has generally taken the shot, and it's going to be hard to shake, especially if we try to do that animation microfilm. And I'm not sure that we needed that. Oh, we
Oh,
missed the
we
pad
missed the
again,
pad.
and that's enough. And coding takes the win, 7-5.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dash at the end though, just getting betrayed by those pads, and that will be enough to do him in. Excuse me, do them in. That is a very unfortunate ending, as both players really showed us a lot here, especially for their level of experience.
Yeah, I thought both of these sets had some really good moments. I think on the sniper side, maybe a little bit of jumpy shots from both players. On the spy side, sometimes running into pacing problems. Although, aside from the gallery games, they weren't too bad, I would say.
No, I don't think so. I had highlighted at the beginning that potentially pacing was going to be an issue, but both players, I mean, in fairness, aided in some points by those jumpy shots, but neither player really ran into time issues at the end, except for that, as you pointed out, that one or library game, excuse me.
All right. Well, congratulations to both players. Both players will be moving on in the Penguin Pool. The Swiss format doesn't knock anybody out. There's still plenty of games to play.